In this lesson, we're going to look at clarifying your average item price. Now, what's important here is that what we're not looking for is to actually calculate right now what is your average item price. What we need to do when we're clarifying the lever is to clarify what actually defines an item in your business. Because once we clearly understand what an item is, when we get round to calculating later on in our health check, then we know exactly what it is that we're calculating and we get the right figures. Some guidelines when defining an item. Some guidelines when defining what an item is in your business. An item might be what we call a deliverable. So it might be an individual product or a service that you sell. But to make sure you're absolutely clear, we are looking for things like line items on an invoice. So if you have an invoice and there are multiple items, multiple lines on the invoice describing different things with different quantities and different values, usually one of those lines is an individual item. If you have a restaurant, they might be the dishes that are on an order. So pasta or lasagna or whatever. If you use some kind of point of sale software in your business or CRM software, then you may already have defined a stock keeping unit or a SKU. Each one of those absolutely definitively defines an item. So if you already have the point of sale implemented in your business, then this is probably going to be quite easy for you. If you don't, then you need to differentiate between things like projects, packages, and a bill of materials. They are groups of things and they're not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is a more granular definition. So something like a service or a SKU. These are individual items. So your mini exercise for this lesson is to define what an item means in your business. Again, as with the other lessons, make a note in your 7 levers canvas. Write down the definition and also write down some examples. So you might write an item is a SKU. An example is a telephone. Another example is a headset. Or if an item is a service to you, then an example of a service might be installation. An example of another service might be servicing. In this lesson, we're going to look at clarifying your average items per sale. Again, like the other revenue levers, it's important to understand that we're not looking to calculate the average items per sale, but define what it means in your business in terms of revenue concepts. So what we're looking for to define average items per sale is to identify what defines a sale and also what defines an item. Some ideas about how you might work this out are to look at how you record a single sale. So for example, it may be an invoice, but it may also just be as simple as a till receipt, or it may be an order with an order number. Whatever these things are, you need to understand how things are connected together. And it may mean you need to look as a whole at all 3 revenue levers. This is part of the way that these 3 levers are connected. They use these 2 concepts across all 3 of the levers. So you may need to come back to this lever after you've gone to the next lesson, transactions, and defined clearly what a sale is, or to work together on all 3 at the same time. Your mini exercise for this lesson is to define what the scope of a sale means in your business. You should already have defined what an item is in your business when you defined and clarified average item price. So you just need to record this new concept of a sale and then add to that your definition of an item. So get out your 7 levers canvas and write down the definition of a sale and some examples or an example. So for example, you would write down that a sale is an invoice or a sale is a till receipt. And also in that lever make a note of your definition of an item I've already defined from average item price.